Fellow Ugandans here in Uganda and everywhere else in the world, I bring you revolutionary greetings wherever you are, and I thank you for the massive support that you have given to us for these past 3 years, which have been years full of challenges. I take this opportunity to also announce that what we are witnessing right now is the launch of a very critical phase in our struggle to liberate ourselves from a dictatorship which has crippled our country for almost 4 decades. A dictatorship which has strangled our economy with a massive corruption, patronage, high cost of living, a sick healthcare system, a broken down healthcare system, etc., etc. For a very long time now, we have lamented and cried about the government which works for only the few and excludes the majority. Well, today, we close the book of lamentation and open the book of Acts. It is time for action, action that will put an end to the injustices, the oppression, and the impunity in our beautiful country, Uganda. Countrymen and women, I come before you not as the most qualified, not as the most experienced, but I come before you as the most committed to lead this liberation, to lead the people of Uganda out of slavery. Countrymen and women, for the last 58 years, our nation has suffered. So many problems have befallen our nation, but key among them has been dictatorships. Each one trying so much to outdo the one before it in violence, in looting, and in plunder. We have not witnessed a peaceful transfer of power from one leader to another since our country became independent in 1962. Unfortunately, friends, 15 years ago, when we had the chance to witness the first peaceful transition of power, 15 years ago, President Museveni, through greed, he denied our nation an opportunity of experiencing a peaceful transition of power from one leader to another, from one generation to another. And as if that was not evil enough, only 3 years ago, this greed caused him to act in the most shameful manner and remove the last safeguard in form of age limit from our constitution. Like Idi Amin, Museveni declared himself president for life in our country, Uganda. Well, little did he know that God will one day raise a generation that will not take that. Little did he know that God will raise unexpected people from unexpected places. So, to you, Mr. Museveni, since you have failed to control your greed and lust for power, our generation is determined to save you from yourself and stop your 35-year-old dictatorship. The liberation and socio-economic transformation of our country cannot be achieved unless we first remove the big obstacle, and that is Museveni, who has undermined all institutions of state and instead institutionalized corruption in Uganda. And of course, he has institutionalized human rights violations. Fellow Ugandans, I'm offering myself as a candidate of the highest office in this land, as a representative of the oppressed Ugandans. My background is well known to you, all of you, born hustling and born to hustling parents, raised in the ghettos of Kamocha, but fortunate enough to raise on top courtesy of my talent and hard work. It is now this background that has enabled me to understand the struggles of the common Ugandans. 35 years ago, Museveni started feeding off taxpayers' money and living in absolute abundance. Him and his cronies are completely detached from the common person, and no wonder they mock our people, because they've impoverished them, battered them, and suppressed them. And that is why in this election, I am representing the weak, I am representing the poor, I am representing the downtrodden, I am representing those that have been excluded from a system which works only for a few, and of course, sitting and stepping on the necks of the many. I am representing the overtaxed business people. I am representing the parents that have sold all their land to take their children to school, and now their children cannot find jobs. I am representing the border riders who are persecuted every day after being made to pay large sums of money. I am representing those wives and mothers that cannot afford maternal health. I am representing the business person who borrows money at high rates and cannot figure out how to pay it. I'm representing the local suppliers who were kicked out of government tenders simply because they don't know anybody in government. I am representing poor Ugandans who have lost land to the powerful land grabbers, and many of them are in government. Yes, those who cannot get justice because justice under Museveni is for sale. I am representing the poor soldiers, the police officers who are so oppressed, yet they are commanded to beat and kill citizens who they are supposed to protect simply because they must appease the rich. Those rich and the mighty are the ones we are standing against. In this election, gentlemen and ladies, I am representing the hardworking people of Busoga that have been deliberately kept poor by the NRM regime. I am representing the great people of Acholi, whose land is being stolen in broad daylight by the regime and its cooperatives. I am representing the people of Lango, who have been deliberately marginalized and disempowered for the past 3 decades. They have been deliberately marginalized and squeezed. I am representing the impoverished people of Karamoja who are kept under the barrel of the gun while their gold, their copper, their cobalt and iron ores are stolen away by the rich and mighty. I am representing the people of Bunyoro who live and grow cheap crops on the oil that is theirs. Yes, their oil has been kept in the dark because they are looked at as they don't have a right to know what is happening in their land. I am representing the people of Bugishu, whose past glory has been shattered by the present regime. Their cooperatives, which kept them rich and productive, were destroyed by the regime. I am representing the people of Chigezi, who work so hard to earn little. I am representing the people of Bukedi, who have been turned into beggars on their own land. Representing the people of Buganda, whose land has been grabbed and they are left poor. They are made beggars. They are made slaves on the land of their grandfathers. I am representing all the people of Uganda, ladies and gentlemen, representing the people of Toro, the people of Rwenzori who live in constant fear because of the brutal regime. Those who are battered in 2018, whose wounds are still fresh in the minds. I represent them. I represent the youth who are very hardworking and yet they have no way to break through the yoke of oppression. The youth that work so hard but don't have the means of production. They don't have no land, they don't have no capital, and they have limited or no opportunities. These are the people I am representing. I am representing this section, the vast majority who are oppressed, yearning for freedom. I'm representing the journalists who cannot even peacefully practice their work without being harassed and beaten by the regime. I am representing the health workers who are paid peanuts for doing incredible work. I am representing my mother, who was a nurse, who had 10 children and who died a miserable life because when she got an accident and put in Morago casualty, she had to stay there an hour in a hospital she served for more than 20 years. I am here to speak for her, even though she cannot speak no more. These are the people that I'm representing. Fellow Ugandans, I present myself to you as a servant, not as a boss. While our detailed plan of action towards our new Uganda will be presented to you through our manifesto, allow me very briefly, because we don't have time, to state just a few things that we will run based on. Most importantly, I want you the people of Uganda, to know that we are going to run a people-centered government which focuses on these areas. Our agenda, first and foremost, is freedom. We want to ensure that all Ugandans, regardless of who they are, of where they come from, are free in their country. All Ugandans must enjoy the freedom of expression, the freedom of conscience, the freedom to disagree with those in power, the freedom to assemble peacefully, and yes, the freedom to worship, and all other freedoms which have been, of course, taken away by the regime. So, number one, I intend to increase the pay of the security forces. Let me say that again. I intend to increase the pay of our security forces. The pay of our soldiers, police officers, and prison officers is so miserable. It must be improved. If I become president, we'll have the privilege to know what the classified budget really does. Such a huge amount of money will be used to improve the pay of our security forces so that they can live a better life. When I'm president, the lowest paid soldier or police officer will be earning 1 million shillings. Let me say it again. When I am president, the lowest earning police officer or soldier or prison officer will be earning 1 million shillings. I will improve their housing and health care. Low-ranking and middle-ranking officers must be entitled to free quality health care as the high-ranking officers. Our government will find opportunities for the spouses of the soldiers and police officers to ensure that they are each contributing to the livelihood of their families. I also intend to streamline the promotion criteria in the armed forces and of course in the police, which will be based on merit and not technical know-how. Never again will soldiers be forced to join the police. I say this again. Never again will soldiers be forced to become police officers like we see today, because they had the option of joining the police, but they decided to join the army. In our plan, the better option is not to recruit from the police, from the army to the police, but instead to improve and empower the police so that they can become better and operate better. The children of the soldiers and the police officers will be entitled to free education up to university. There is no greater sacrifice, ladies and gentlemen, than serving in uniform, and it will be our deliberate plan to ensure that our men and women in uniform in dignity. I firmly believe we do this, I strongly believe that if we do this, then our armed men and women in uniform will have respect for the citizens. In a new Uganda, there will be mutual love and respect between those in uniform and the ordinary citizen of Uganda. When I become president, we shall introduce a contract arrangement for the security officers. In other countries, one can serve in the military, and after some time, they resign when they are still young. And of course, they resign with a better retirement package. But today, they are all tied. Even when they want to resign, they cannot. One should be proud to serve in the military or in the police and resign. So we shall make it on contract so that we make that job so nice for you to work. Number 2, in the new Uganda, there will be access to affordable quality health care for all Ugandans. And this will be priority in terms of budgetary allocations. Effective supervision, of course, will be there, but health can be fixed. I'm not here to preach as a professor or a very experienced person in health, in the health sector, but I want to tell you, only following the Abuja declaration of raising the budgetary allocation to 15% of the national budget, we are going to have a perfect healthcare system. And yes, we will do it. Number 3, education. We all know that education is what paves way for a new. Maybe if I did not get the rare opportunity to education, I would still be in. But now that I'm here, it has to work for everybody. It has to be transformation for every ghetto youth. I've told you before about our education, and I will emphasize that we'll have the 4 A's that we'll focus on in our education. And empower the academics, we will arts, we will empower the athletics, and of course, we shall empower agriculture. We shall deal with unemployment, and of course, have a whole lot of job creation. I might not have proceeded on that, but I can guarantee you that by 2025, we have created 1 million jobs. And I sign because I will be president. Number 5, agriculture. Well, agriculture remains the backbone of our economy. And even if it is being disrespected and given no attention, our government intends to zone this country and ensure that each zone has a cash crop and a food crop. Friends, this is not rocket science. It is not going to begin with my presidency. It has been done before. It is a question of working it up. When I was growing up, every region of this country had a cash crop and a food crop. We don't have that anymore. Why? Because the regime has different priorities, among which, or number one of which, is retaining power. But when I'm president, you are going to see that with your own eyes. And yes, we shall ensure access to proper input and promote good agricultural practices and, of course, value addition. We shall revamp coffee production, because when I was growing up, coffee production is what put us on the world map. I can guarantee you that our government will ensure that by 2025, Uganda exports 50 million bags of coffee. 50 million. And I sign, because I will be president. Science and technology. I cannot talk so much about this, friends. Many of you are members of my generation, and you know how this is going to revamp our country. Our government will focus on promotion of science and technology as a catalyst for economic growth and development. This is going to be done through allocation of funds to schools that are specifically majoring in that. And of course, we shall establish innovation hubs in every sub-region of Uganda. Our school-going children should receive world-class ICT, because I believe that we Ugandans, we are first world brains stuck in a third world country. And yes, Uganda is not a third world country. It is only our leaders that are third world leaders. Now, you got a first world leader. Let's go for that. Number 7, access to water and electricity. Friends, the vast majority of Ugandans have no access to clean water. But our government is going to ensure that every household in Uganda has access to clean water. In terms of power supply, we shall ensure that more households are connected to the power grid. However, we shall also pursue a deliberate policy of ensuring that households in rural areas have access to solar power. This can be done, and this will be done. Fellow Ugandans, there are many other things that we plan to do for this nation, some of which are put in our manifesto. This regime has destroyed many, many dreams of Ugandans. But today, I want to say to you, please dare to dream again. Please dare to hope again. Friends, dare to believe again. Our nation has been reduced into a laughing stock among nations. But once again, we shall rise to be the true pearl of Africa that we have been known for. Nothing can defeat people united, especially if we are united by conviction. A people united can never be defeated. 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 Yes, and also I want you to know that nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. Our story as NUP and as People Power, and also my individual story, friends, is a story of commitment, resilience, and never giving up. It is an example that challenges only strengthen the prepared. Let us come together under the umbrella of a new Uganda. And yes, march together, all of us, men and women, young and old, rich and poor, towards that new Uganda. As I conclude, I want you to know that we are aware that Museveni prides himself in his record of rigging elections. And of course, that the Electoral Commission has always been helping him in achieving that. Well, today, let me send a message to him and Mr. Byabakama. Just like I've just told him in his face, I will tell him again publicly that it is in your best interest not to mess with the people of Uganda. I say this again, Mr. Museveni and Mr. Byabakama, it is in your best interest not to mess with the people of Uganda. Because if you do so, you know the cost will be high. So finally, to all the Ugandans out there in Uganda and abroad, we rally you not to treat this as an ordinary election, but as a revolutionary election. The stakes are high. The transition is in our face. Freedom is staring us in the face, ladies and gentlemen. It is time. The time is now. And we have entered the ring. I say we have entered the ring and we are not coming out. We only await to raise our fist in victory. Because this is the time, ladies and gentlemen. Kati tusimbudde. I say kati tusimbudde. This is it. This is a battle between the past and the future. I say this again, this is a battle between the past and the future, between the old and the new, between slavery and freedom. This is the defining moment. So, I want you to know, Ugandans, that power is in your hands. And it is this time where you choose to trust that power in a person that you decide. This is a mission to freedom. I say this again. This is a mission to freedom, not a mere election. We are removing a dictator. Say that after me. We are removing a dictator. And we are doing this peacefully and constitutionally and legally because we know that our laws provide for that. If we were born and there was no constitution in Uganda, we would bow to slavery. But when I read the constitution, it guarantees all this. When I remember what President Museveni said when he was my age, he said, what do you do when a regime has closed all avenues of peaceful change? Well, we have an avenue of peaceful change. And we know the world is watching us. We are going to be free. I say we are going to be free. And now, very, 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 very finally, I want to pay tribute to all the people that have been struggling, those that came before us, those that have lived before us. We are alive to the fact that we stand on your shoulders. We are alive to the fact that you inspired us to see the truth. And we call all upon you to stand by that truth. I want to respect Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogerere. I want to respect Dr. Kiza Besigye. I want to respect Dr. Miriam Matembe and all other leaders who have paid the price in different ways. And of course, I want to salute all the comrades that have been murdered in cold blood in our pursuit for freedom. We stand by you. Your blood is still watering the tree of freedom. And I can guarantee you, comrades, wherever you lie, that we shall be free or we shall die trying to be free. I thank you for God and my country.
We shall overcome.
When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in a new Uganda. People power. Our power. People power. NUP. Everywhere.
NUP.